Okay, let's dive in. If you're thinking about studying overseas, well, there are a lot of choices, but figuring out the right one can be tough. We've been looking through a comparison guide, one that really breaks down four of the most popular spots for international students: Canada, Australia, the US, and New Zealand.
Right. And what we want to do in this deep dive is unpack that guide for you. The goal is to, help you sift through the information and see which of these places might actually be the best fit for your goals.
Yeah, like, are you aiming for permanent residency? Is budget a huge factor? Or maybe it's about the job market or just the kind of lifestyle you're after.
Exactly. And the guide does make it clear up front, all four countries offer really world-class education. They're multicultural, great places to live, and they all have opportunities to work, which is key. So the baseline is high.
That's a good starting point. Fantastic unis, diverse places, but the differences matter.
They absolutely do. It's in those nuances that your personal checklist comes into play.
Okay, so let's get into those details, country by country. What did the guide highlight? Let's start with Australia. What's the picture there?
Australia really shines for its lifestyle in the guide. Friendly culture, obviously the amazing weather, and a high-quality education system. And a big plus they mentioned for students is being able to work part-time while studying and then full-time during breaks.
Right, that flexibility is huge. And what about sticking around after you graduate?
Yeah, the guide points to some strong PR pathways, especially, it seems, if you look at studying or working in more regional areas.
Ah, okay, so not just the big names like Sydney or Melbourne.
Well, those cities have many of the top universities, definitely.
Yeah.
But the guide suggests exploring options outside them, too, for potentially clearer PR roads. Plus, its location is great for students from Asia.
Okay, interesting. Let's switch gears then. How about Canada? What stands out there?
Canada often gets highlighted for being relatively more affordable tuition-wise compared to, say, the U.S. or maybe Australia. Plus, it's known for safety, and it's incredibly multicultural. But the really big thing the guide stresses is the post-graduation work permit.
Tell me more about that. That sounds quite significant.
It really is. It lets you stay and work for up to 3 years after you finish your degree. That's a substantial amount of time.
3 years, wow.
Yeah, to get Canadian work experience. And that links directly to the other main point. Canada apparently has one of the most, let's say, direct and welcoming immigration systems for students aiming for permanent residency.
So clear pathway if staying long-term is the goal.
Seems like it. And universities in places like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, all highly respected according to the guide.
Makes sense. Okay, now the USA. Always seen as, a giant in higher education.
Absolutely. The guide positions the U.S. as the place if you want access to the largest number of top-ranked universities on the planet. It's presented as the hub for innovation, research, tech, that kind of cutting-edge study.
That's definitely the perception. Are there downsides mentioned? What's the catch?
Well, yeah. The guide is pretty clear it can be quite a bit more expensive, both tuition and living costs. And the visa process is described as more competitive, maybe tougher to navigate than the others.
Okay, so higher barriers potentially.
Potentially. But the flip side is, if you do get into a great U.S. university, the career opportunities afterwards are described as, well, almost endless. Think New York, L.A., Boston, Chicago, global exposure.
High risk, high reward, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. Depends on your field and your funding, I suppose.
Got it. All right, last but not least, New Zealand. What's the vibe there according to the guide?
New Zealand offers something different. The guide emphasizes its peaceful lifestyle, safety, and just incredible natural beauty. It has fewer universities overall than the others, sure, but the quality is still stressed as being very strong.
So maybe a different pace, less about the sheer scale, more about the environment.
Exactly. It's presented as a fantastic option if you're looking for a calmer, high-quality study setting. And like the others, there are opportunities for part-time work during studies and post-study work visas. Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch are the main student cities noted.
Okay, so bringing it all together, looking at the comparison, what's the main takeaway?
The guide sort of crystallizes the main pitch for each. Canada seems strong on PR and affordability. Australia offers that great lifestyle, beaches, quality education, plus those regional PR angles.
Right.
The USA is about that top-tier university prestige and big career launch potential despite the costs. And New Zealand, it stands out for peace, nature, safety, a slightly slower pace maybe.
It really does boil down to what you, the listener, are looking for, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The guide hammers this home. There's no single best country. It totally depends on your career goals, your budget, what kind of life you actually want to live day to day. It
Yeah.
strongly advises, really digging into the specific visa rules for your situation, researching the job market in your field, and getting real about living costs.
So, this deep dive using the guide has hopefully laid out the different flavors these four countries offer. Clearly, no one size fits all answer.
No, it's about finding your fit, which leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider. Given how differently these countries approach things after graduation, Canada's focus on student PR, the U.S. competition, Australia's regional push,
Hmm.
how might choosing one over the others fundamentally change your long-term path? Not just your first job, but your whole career, maybe even where you end up living permanently. It's a bigger decision than just picking a course, isn't it?